What's going on, guys? Got a little work to do today, so I figured I'd just come on here and go live. Let's see. I need to share it out to everybody. Hopefully, you can see that. Dun, dun, play. I don't know. Get to my page without. There we go. I try to. I've got it all up here on the studio. Hopefully, it'll tell me when some people come in, but we'll see. It's been a while since I've done all this. It's bad to say, I guess. Let's see. If you can't hear me, obviously the mic is noise canceling, so the furnace or whatever's running back there, so it might be a little tough to hear me. Keep share this here. Right. Easier this way. Obviously, everybody's probably working, so it's not a big deal. Views, current viewers. We'll see. See if anybody wants to join. It's not a big deal if not. See how quickly this updates. I don't know if it'll. Make sure I'm not missing anything. There we go. Yeah. Just got some tires to make today for this ready to run. Still pretty early. But when you order a ready to run shredder, you can also order custom rovers and stuff like that. So this customer opted to do that. So now I get to make tires. Made this little jig for myself and some of the team drivers to help when it comes to making these. Give us at least a cut line to follow. So these are basically what? There's nobody in here. Let's see if anybody. Phone's going a little crazy. Trying to watch it on both sides, make sure my computer don't mess up. But everybody's definitely working. We should probably do this later on tonight too. Maybe. Oh, it says two people watching. One's including myself, obviously. What's up, Sean? Trying to see if not showing me the chat or anything. Well, it should show the chat in here, I thought. Guess not. There we go. Yeah, it's got a noise canceling kind of going with the furnace running behind me. I don't know if that helps at all. I kind of turned up the volume here on this end. Let me know if that helps. What's up, Brad? Now that the chat's up on the screen, I can kind of tell what's going on. Move this over here so I can watch it. Move this down here. There we go. Better? Ah, there we go. Little bit. Yeah, with the furnace running behind me, it's trying to cancel that out right now, and obviously I have to be louder than it. I mean, it's still pretty quiet, but that mic is pretty good and picks up just about anything. So, what's everybody up to? Yeah, Sean, I bought a whole box of them somewhere. Or I think I put them in the filing cabinet over there, so I knew where they were. On your next order, I can send you one for sure. Brad, Sean, you guys working? Well, Sean, I know you are. Brad, you working? Got the day off? Friday? Cold? Nothing good? Fucking yeah. I hear you. I hear you. It all becomes work sooner or later. This used to be fun a lot, and now it's just become like anything else. It's work. They always say don't make your hobby your job, and well, I did it and did it with a business. Makes it even worse. But yeah, it could be a lot worse. Be outside working instead of drawing on some tires. Nice. Looks like everything's working pretty up to date here quickly. Phone's not any faster than the computer, so that's good. Oh, should make multiple sets of these. I have to make myself a set too when I get build another mini. let's see, looks like everything's coming in fairly nice. Obviously, I've got the light flickers right there. Obviously, the light's pretty bright above me. The computer, I mean, this is facing me is just the laptop top camera, and then obviously my Osbot over here. I could probably put it on a tripod behind me, make it look a little better, but I figured for right now, this is fine, and then can adjust more and more later. That's not too bad. You guys kind of see what's going on. I can always show people if they ask what's going on. Yeah, the red doesn't. I mean, the red shows up, Sean. I don't know if you could see it on there. Yeah, it shows up pretty good. Still dark, so even if it still is on there, you won't see it as much. Looks like we got some more people in. Only four of us. One includes me, so three others. Ooh, it does get hung up on the lettering and stuff every now and then on the tire. Need to push it in as much, I guess. That's what you read. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, they didn't have white on mine. Must have them on there now. At least on like quick ones. I could have got white ones, but they were not like 2 day or whatever. It was like a week away or something like that. So I just opted to get these to see if they work quickly, and they do. They work fine. Little tool here. If you guys haven't seen that, I printed this off to help us in making tires. Works out pretty well. Sean drew another one for himself to help him on some other tires. What's going on here? There we go. You always have to keep drawing and making stuff. It never ends. Oh yeah, set. Yeah. They work well. I could see where these would be super helpful, while doing other stuff. So I gotta cut those. I gotta cut another whole tire here. Just cut it down so I can. I guess I'm not gonna use this tire. Just cut it off up here. Make it easier on myself. I could have just cut the tire in half, but it's gonna get to where I got a flat sidewall. Easier to cut, easier to handle. Yeah, if somebody, Shauna, yeah, if somebody had a certain size that they wanted done, we could definitely draw them up and print them out. That's for sure. Makes it easier if you actually want to sit down and make tires, but I think we're a dying breed right there. Nobody wants to sit down and make tires. People don't even want to build a link, let alone bend one. I'm not gonna sit here for 2 days straight cutting and gluing, I don't think. And then, another half day or more working on foams to make it fit. So, I don't think 70-80% of the hobby would never even want to attempt that. There we go. Let's cut those out. Slap that on there. 7 people. People are joining. Everybody's quiet though. Guys, it's kind of just like a hangout day. I had to work on tires. I mean, I've been working on the ready to run shredders. This one's the one I did a video with the other day. So this is the last one on order right now. Opted for obviously blue shocks, the Shift GTS 3 servo. Um, it will have the transmission ESC with VEC. And then now I'm making the tires for it. And those are going to be custom 4.2 to 4.3, 4.4. Usually they come right out about 4.2 when I'm done building, but everything's handmade. So, but yeah, 4.2 range Rovers, 4.3, somewhere right around there. 4.2, 4.3 is the aim, is what we're going for. But should be right around there. Maybe 4.3, 4. What up, Timmy? We're running the OD4s in the shredders, so the little ones from Deluxe. It's definitely the best mini trans out there. I mean, that's no doubt. And then we run that, and then Deluxe's axles, obviously, and it has definitely proven itself worthy. We released it at Fall Crawl. You were there, Brad, I think. You might not have been there. I'm not sure. Sorry, it's hard to remember. But we released it at Fall Crawl. Won at Fall Crawl with it. We had 2 in the top 5, and then 6th and 7th, I believe, were shredders also. So, and then we took 1st and 3rd, I think. If I try to remember it all. Oh yeah, ECC. Yeah. Will there ever be a Reaper chassis for the UTV 18? No, there won't. If you're wanting to drive mini, Shredder is your mini. I don't know if the UTV 18 by you is a different class. Maybe it's the smaller version, but or something that's not mini. But yeah, no. The mini chassis, the Shredder, is as small as we will get. I don't plan on wanting to make anything for the micros. I don't know. It doesn't interest me right now at this time. There's definitely not a amount. There's not. Actually, I don't know if I've had any, maybe one, maybe two, but not a whole lot of people ask for anything of these smaller micros. I know a lot of people say it's coming on, so we'll see. It's not on any radar right now. The Reapers all have. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's not on our radar, unfortunately. Our map is, or our path is, we're going the Shredder. Obviously, is what we just released. We had the Warlock right before it, so our next path is Pro or MOA. So that is where we're heading next. We're gonna start designing on that, getting everything figured out we can, and then lots and lots and lots of testing. Yeah, if you wanted to like build a mini version in the mini class, of the same class as the Shredder, I mean, you can't. You could do it with a Reaper. You could cut it up and bolt shock hoops and things like that. But if you really want to get into the mini game, this is where you want to be. Our Shredder chassis is where you want to be. So, like I said, so far it's just crazy of what it's able to do right now, especially in the mini scene. Appreciate it, Raymond. Thank you, sir. Yeah, we try hard. The team has definitely been working a lot here lately to get everything kind of squared away and rolling. Everybody's been so busy this year. Even the team chat's been a little quiet. So, um, we're just trying to put out what we can as quick as we can. But we're going to do it right. Everything we release is done correctly. We've tested it, and it looks and performs, up to our standards is what we always achieve for. So uh, we're not going to release anything that looks stupid or horrible, and we're definitely not going to release anything that just performs okay. We strive for being the top, and we pride ourselves on that. So when it comes to industry and performance, we try to set the bar, and not everybody follows our path, and that's fine. Not everybody likes our design ideas or the looks, and that's not a big deal. That's the way it goes. But we're here to help if they got questions or anything like that. We're definitely here for any of that. Eh, got a little crooked today. I'll have to go back for gluing and kind of clean them all up. Scissors are sharp, but pay attention a little more, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate you typing back. 7 people. What else we got, guys? What other questions we got? Let's not sit here and just not chit chat. Let's ask some questions. Guys, want to see anything or talk about say the Shredder or Jekyll and Hyde's, anything like that? What plans you got coming up? What winter builds you thinking? Whether it be with us or not, I mean, it's okay. Said not everybody's in our style, but if you're here, hopefully you are. But what do you got planned for winter? What's catching your eye? Yeah, looking good. Gonna build a warlock very soon. There you go. There is there is nothing wrong with that. That's for sure. It's uh it's definitely been an amazing chassis. I mean, I built mine and right away I just felt comfortable. Like, it takes a while to get a rig to that point, but man, I put mine together. I took it out on the rocks. I mean, very little tuning. And I mean, the rig just felt comfortable right off the bat. I mean, it was felt solid, ready to go. So I did a couple other little tunes, things I felt maybe it needed, but man, it's rock solid. I like driving that truck. It's fun. It's crazy to see what it can do for sure. It definitely, I mean, we came out swinging in sporty with the Warlock. So, what up, Deadhead? It'll be your first sporty. Well, man, heck yeah, nothing wrong with that. Sporty is so fun. So, like what I've been talking with everybody and saying, right now, with the way that Class Two has become, so performance driven, so performance based. A lot of scale is out of it, other than obviously what has to be per the rules. But man, the transition from Class Two to sporty, I mean, it's pretty much take your training wheels off with no winch, take it off, throw it off to the side, and drive your truck. That's what Class Two used to be. Throw your truck down, drive it, and at very last dead ditch effort, pull the winch. But now it's just become such a winch fest everywhere. And then you go to competitions and people are putting in mandatory winch gates, and I'm like, why would you do that? We're here for performance driven, driving, not throw your truck down, pull up to a gate and pull a winch. What kind of fun is that? You're just proving to everybody you got a good, strong, fast winch. But if you can't pull up to the gate and drive it, or at least take the gate, one or the other, um, you know, I see a problem with that. So I would, say the transition from stop using a winch all the time and go to class, go to sporty it's an easy transition from class two. You basically take your class two, you shorten the chassis, you throw the winch out the door, and now you're into sporty, with some bigger tires. So um, I really, really enjoyed getting into the sporty class or um, sportsman, and then even more thoroughly enjoy driving the Mini. It's just a fun chassis. It's crazy what a 9-inch wheelbase can be capable of. And then Pro is also just a blast. A little bit more to understand when driving or pay attention to. A little bit more tricks of the trade that you can do with those. But like I said, if you run Class 2 and you enjoy Class 2, just and you're looking for the next step, you're not looking for what's the next hottest chassis out there that's going to get my Class 2 to another level. If you can really do some really cool, awesome things with your Class 2, you feel it's still competitive, you feel like you could run any course, that's awesome. Your next step is not to typically build another Class 2. You've got an awesome running Class 2. So your next step would be, okay, let's go to sporty and let's throw any of the give me's away. If I can't run that gate or if I can't get that gate, I'm gonna pull winch. Now there's none of that in sporty. It's now I get to that gate, and if I can't make it, I can't make it. So you really hone in some skills of you, the truck, what lines, how to pull, a line a different area from you would think that you would pull from scale. Can I really hold that stupid crazy side hill and still turn up? Can I crest over the rocks over off of this side and maybe just take the gate and then keep going? You have to think of all that, to where in scale you don't anymore. When you've got a winch that can deadlift two of your trucks, and it doesn't matter what bind you're in, where you've fallen, if you've got enough winch line, you're going to be able to do whatever you want. So it takes that crutch out of it and then really puts you back into the mindset of driving. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately for me, I think that's awesome. When I pull up to a competition and you're literally just pulling winches all the time, it's 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 not a competition at that point. I mean, there is scale in winching. There's skill in winching. There's no doubt about it. But when you're doing more winching than you're doing driving, it's no longer a driving based competition. It's a who's got the better winch, who can pull it and lock it, hook it, drag it. It doesn't matter who can do that the quickest at that point. And to me, that's a joke. What do we got? Definitely take some fun out of it when you have a ton of winch gates. Yep, for sure. I love sporting. It's a lot of fun. Definitely, Timmy. build courses. I build in the test of driver skill. Try my best not to go crazy. Ask Red Roland and the Queen. They all know too well for sure. Yeah, the WRCCA was what Sorko. Yeah, yeah. I mean, because what were like the first winches back in the day? You know, we started running the RC four wheel drives, and then uh, some people. I mean, back then I started tinkering with like the wing servos and stuff from airplanes, real thin ones. They worked really well. I mean, the trucks did great, and then they just progressed from there, and it's just become. I mean, it's literally just become a winch fest these days. You know, the trucks are so capable, and then you get a handful of people with great and super capable trucks that know what they can do. And, you know, when we set up lines to be challenging, you know, even our team, we do it to ourselves. I mean, I do it out here on our test course. David and I went out there and heck, we even set a sporting course that we couldn't even finish in the time frame and things like that. So, but when you do it for a competition, you've got all the levels from crazy, extremely competitive drivers that do it all the time to people just getting into it. And, you know, that's extremely hard to set for between those and still everyone maybe be able to compete or complete in that. But anymore, some of the ones are so crazy hard that, you know, you watch 10 people go through, 15 people go through, and not one person's even come close. So now that one's guaranteed you have to winch that gate. And then all of a sudden, you've got 10 of those throughout 3 courses, and it's just become a winch fest at that point. So I don't know. And that's why I liked getting into the WRCCA scene. It's just you no longer have that. You don't have that crutch when you pull up. You immediately like, oh well, I'll just pull winch and do that. You're not trying to find the better lines, the harder crawl. Even though it's a little tougher, it takes you a little bit more time. You know, you can still crawl it, and then time management comes into hand, and you know all that stuff. So it's more, I believe, driver and machine when you get into the WRCC level than class two, to where you, I mean, even class three. I mean, some guys in class three and class two run 2 winches front and back. You know, Timmy, I've seen that on your trucks, I believe. And to have that always as a crutch behind you, if you can't drive it or if you can't do it, now it becomes who can pull their winch the fastest, get it back in, and keep moving on. Between other than, oh, I think my truck can pull that, you know, or I need to drive that line. So I don't know. I always think that's in a lot of course builders' head. Sometimes, you know, they might set a line and then they go, I don't know if that's doable or not. Everybody's got a winch, it doesn't matter. And then now it's become that in the driver's aspect of it too. It's like, I could probably drive it from over here on this side, but I'll just probably pull winch. So now you're like, oh, okay. And like I said, you start getting 10 of those within 3 courses, 3 10 gate courses, you know, now you just literally pulled winch on a third of the gates of the course. But, you know, like I said, a winch gate here and there is fine. Pendulum winch gates are dumb. Never should ever happen. Should not be in any competition. The only time it ever happens in real life is if there's a really dumb mistake or, you know, something happened that shouldn't have happened. You know, that's, but to set one up that's mandatory during a competition is just foolish. It doesn't prove anything other than, oh, I've got a winch and I've got a hook spot on the top I can just hang on to. So, what else we got? 9 people in here now. Wow. Watching my phone, make sure I'm not missing anything, but everything up there seems to look like it's working just fine. We'll back out of this then on my phone since it doesn't need to be up there. There we go. Everything seems to be working fine on this on the streaming software. So, who's got a question? can ramble on all day about winches, so we won't do that though. Said my piece. Happy Friday, by the way. I didn't even realize it was Friday until the team woke up and said that today. Anymore, all the days run together. Just wake up, come down, and work all day. Though building RC cars for a living sounds like it could be a fun time, it definitely is a strenuous, not strenuous, but just it'll take a toll. All right, let me see. How about that? Does that work better? Could be too that this is a little farther away. I'll get that set up. There, is that better? Oh, we'll try not to hit it. All right. Mic is up all the way, so it shows me, yeah, a little bit more than half on the decibel scale going through. Might be crazy loud now. Move you guys closer. Better, better. Okay, I'll take it. Yeah, if the furnace isn't going back, or well, it's not the furnace, it's the blower. If the blower's not going on behind me, it'll pick up an eyelash falling down. But now it's trying to noise cancel that out while uh, talking and trying to grab me. So way good now. Nice. Yeah, Brad, you're right. Yeah, if you know, I sat here and thought about it the other night. I was so I built two two or three team drivers, shredders before Maryland, and then I built the four ready to runs plus mine for Maryland, and mine was a little bit before. Well, mine was before Maryland, but yeah. So I built three team drivers, and then the four ready to runs, and then I came back from Maryland, had one to build, and then I just got done building two more. So I mean, we're talking, three, seven, eight, nine, 10. I mean, 10 shredders back to back to back. So I mean, uh, it's definitely it gets old after a while, but it's good to see them out and about and running and all that. And then I let AJ borrow my shredder for Utah when he went to nationals, or I think it was nationals. And then I didn't get it back. He wanted it, so I sold that to him. And now I got to build myself another one, and I haven't had that chance to do that yet. So this one is the last customer ready to run shredder to build. I have a almost ready to run Jekyll I have to build for a customer after this now, and then maybe I can get on to building me a shredder. But until then, I am miniless. That's all right though. Can't complain, but it definitely doing all the ready to runs and keeping stock up and orders, emails, all that, all at the same time and shipping. It's a lot to do. He's gonna make the car listen to me on live. uh, oh Lord. Tell them all to put their headphones in. It's not going to be any good conversation, that's for sure. Yeah, Brad. Yeah, I see you. Yeah, it's rough. So some of the other to runs weren't that bad. I've had two or three customers now also order the uh 4.2 to 4.4 Rovers. So so now I got to build tires for them all, which this is obviously the last one, other than build ones for myself. So I got to build tires for them, which then take, at least 2 days to make or more, depending on how much time I get to sit down and actually do this. I mean, you can see right here, I'm just doing the sidewalls right now. I haven't even started on like the tread or anything like that. There we go. Hey, Chris. Also build a warlock after a fall crawl. Both are awesome. Appreciate what you. Thanks, Chris. I do. I appreciate you too. You've always been around. Never had any problems with you, no matter what. It's always fun to crawl with you and stuff like that. I appreciate you purchasing the ready to run shredder. Every sale in a small business, especially when you do it for a living, is worth getting. So yeah, no sale, small or big, is should be passed up. So I appreciate all of that for sure. Start your singing career. Oh yeah. Woo. I don't know about that. Nobody wants to do that. Chris, it's good to see you on here, babe. That's awesome. I'm glad at least it's getting out. Let's see. It shows current viewers on my end 6. I mean, I don't know how quickly that updates. But yeah, I figured I had to work anyway. If nobody was doing anything and they wanted to hang out, I don't know. Some people are able to do that at work, some people aren't. But I figured, I thought about it the other day. If I've already got the camera and the computer and all that set up sitting here, I mean, I might as well go live if I've got to sit here and build and work. So might be able to answer a question for somebody, or might be able to steer them in the correct path for corrupt anything. So open up my robas, listening to a podcast. Yeah, crawl, CCW crawl pad. Yeah, that's what we do. CCW crawl cast. Phones. I have a little half tire here somewhere. Oh, oh, there it is. All right. Get my bearings on straight here. Go. Start with one. Get glue ready. I don't need the sidewalls right now. Just work on the tires. So I've been using this SXT Ice Premium Tire Glue. So far, so good. I haven't had any issues with it. It's super thin though. A lot of people don't like working with the crazy, crazy thin. Chris, these sidewalls are the um off-brand. or the copies. Sorry, they're on um Amazon. The copies of Voodoo's. So obviously, I don't use the whole tire, but the sidewalls still have the ribbing in them like this. And if we're just using the sidewalls, I mean, there's no sense of if you had some old tires and stuff like that, you can use them no problem. But yeah, I buy like the really cheap, stupid, ridiculous copies of Voodoo's and then cut them out and then use just the sidewalls and then throw the tread pretty much away. So nobody uses them really. But yeah, it's a good sidewall. It's got the inside ribbing. Should be good. It makes a nice sidewall for the tire. A little strengthen or stiffening or strengthening on the inside here with those ribs. So yeah. Oh yeah. Sean, did you get some of like that 3M stuff like we talked about? Like what did it have? The primer and then the glue. I know I looked at it and then I know we were talking about it for a little bit in the team chat. Tires are so sticky. That's right, ribbed. That's right. Yeah, the Scotch weld. Yeah, for sure. Uh, so did you get the like the flexible glue, or did you get the one glue that I had sent? It would look like it was hard to find though, for sure. Actually, where's this at on the tire? Let me see if I can find the same spot. Might help. Be on this one. Yeah, it's like dot on dot, basically. Let's go there. I'm like taking a good fresh tire and just cutting right into it for the better good. All of us at heart are definitely children. No doubt about it. Look at that perfect, almost perfect cut. Sometimes I surprise myself. TR40 glue. CT primer, not sure. Okay, the 40. Yeah, the other one, I forgot. I shared it a while back. So I seen like the PR40, I think, and then there was another one. There was like a PR79 or something like that, and it was the primer, and it was still a um, CA glue, but it was the rubberized CA glue, so it had a little bit higher shear strength and pull strength than the other one. But that might be it. I'm just not sure. I thought it ended in a nine though. I thought it was like a 4.9 or 7.9 or something like that. But you know, I start with these tires. I'll start right in the middle, line the seam up, and then work it down. Yeah, I'd have. I think. Let me see if it's still on my phone. I don't know. I cleared a lot of pictures off of it. So much stuff on there. Let's see. I think I screenshotted it. Screenshot it. Sorry. but I could have been mistaken. Oh, okay, that was Fall Crawl, so it was way after that. Why not have saved it? Oh wait, yeah, I did. The RT500B, so it's the rubber toughened, if it would focus, instant adhesive. It doesn't want to focus on that. There it is. Rubber toughened instant adhesive. RT500B. Basically, same stuff. And it said that primer was good for it also. And then I looked at all of the graphs of the shear strength and such, and it was the highest, and it had the pull too. I don't know if you got the wrong stuff. I think people said that they use what you're using. Um, but I just started. I went down that rabbit hole that night, and you know me, I just wanted to see what would be maybe the best source from 3M to to use, and it seemed like I had landed on that. Then did a little bit more research and found the graphs of the specs of that glue, and it seemed to have the best shear strength and pull strength and all that. So, all right, hold on, I'll send it to you. Oh, now I gotta find it again in all my photos. Oh God, what was after that? After that, uh, hold on, screenshots. There we go. There you go. I sent it to you. Well, at least you'll have that. But yeah, that's what I found that because actually I was looking at the primer and I figured, well, okay, what's the primer I'll work with? And I started going through more products and then eventually landed on that one. And then, like I said, seen some other stuff about it and the specs read really, really well. So it's like, oh, that might be the best one to work. It's probably crazy expensive. I know it was hard to find. I found it a couple times. It wasn't ridiculously crazy, but pricey wise, but it wasn't cheap. If it's good, it rarely is. Except this stuff. This stuff I've been using has been really well. Hey, look at that. Hold it for a little bit and go. Oh, I've got to clean these off too. That's right. They're brand new. It's glued in here. Oh, used a little too much glue on that one. I'm gonna take it a little bit. Most time I don't even glue it all the way down at the bottom. I just kind of stop at where I know I'm roughly gonna cut. But sometimes when it's super thin, it'll seep all the way down, just like it did. Hmm, that's glued on there right now. Seeped on that one a little bit. There we go. Let's glue this one up. Got 6 people watching. So who in here has done
tires? Anybody? I did. I used to a long time ago, and then didn't recently get back into them until talking with Sean and talking about mini tires and sporty tires, and so I was like, well, I had Sean build me some huge pins, and then I was like, I might as well take a stab at it. You know, I used to glue all the time in carpet with foam tires and stuff, so I was like, let's take a stab. And I had worked on some crawler tires earlier when I got into crawling, but nothing crazy. But so far, I kind of enjoy it. I haven't had the need to yet. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's not. I mean, it's a lot of work for sure. These, it seemed like, on my shredder when I ran it, I ran the some 4.5 Rovers, and it seemed a little too tall for my liking and my driving style. So I was like, well, I need to make some smaller ones. And then come to find out, most people run the smaller ones. So when they made them, so I was like, oh, okay. So then I started offering them for the ready to runs, and I've definitely made a couple since then. I made some 4.5s to start with, and now somebody else is using those and crawling with them. I let them go. Timmy, yeah, definitely. I know you have. I know you've glued some. Sean has glued more tires probably than I could ever imagine. So, Brad, on your mini, if you have a mini, what tires are you running right now? The uh, Power Hobbies ones, think are a nice pin that people are liking. Um, Heck, at Fall Crawl, I ran J Concepts Megaliths, Class 1 Megas, and it did really well. It only hindered me in one spot, really, being that the sidewall or the side lugs were fighting or something. I couldn't get through a gate that some of my other drivers have, so. Brad, not a whole lot because some people, like Sean and others, had this down to a science pretty much. So I just kind of asked them, what's um, what size or what measurement to kind of take them to. Fudge that cut up a little bit. Fix that. Um, and they kind of already knew the sizes. They knew how to cut it or where to cut it. So I got lucky on that aspect. Those guys pretty much had that down to a science. Okay, Rovers, yeah. Yeah, so once they told me how to do it, I tried one set for myself right off the bat, and those were the 4.5s. Ended up pretty well, not horrible. And then all the other sets so far have been, you know, every set typically gets a little better and a little better. But then, then it comes down to foams. Then you got to start doing stuff with your foams and whatnot, making them fit correctly and such. Cut that one a little off. We're going to be all right. Looks like it's gluing together just fine. Mini's not legal yet, huh? Are you building one or the chassis isn't legal? You're designing it? What's up? Let's hear. I mean, you don't have to tell us, obviously. There's a lot of people that are pretty secretive, but together fine with the side walls. Just glue that in there. So it place a little better. There we go. What's up, Scott? You working? Hanging out at home? Hopefully you're not under the truck fixing airlines again. Ah, okay, I got you, Brad. Well, time to start it up. Time to get the big dogs out to play. There's that one. All right, we'll let it dry. And then, so if you've never done these, so basically what we just did, we took some lugs and added them into the tire right here. Uh, Glued this section right here is glued in. Made this bigger in circumference, obviously, or diameter. Um, Either way, made this bigger to the size we plan on by cutting ones out of the same tire, just one by itself. And then when it gets to it, we'll cut in here, and then we'll take this and glue it in there. And then you've got the 1/9 again because this is now larger, obviously, because we added that. So we'll cut, glue this inside, and now we've got the 1/9 size again with this glued in, and now we've got the larger size that we wanted here. So yeah, they can ask if they want. It's up to them. If anybody wants to build some, we can definitely try to steer them in the right direction. We've got some things here to do, that'll help you in that aspect that we can offer to you. I have the glue, I've got the tips and all that we can definitely offer to you. But if you would rather have some built, you can get with Sean here in the chat that you see, Sean Harnley. Or if he's too busy, you can get with myself and we can try to make you some. But yeah, you know, pretty cool. We're trying to get it down to a science, and as soon as we get it good, Sean's been making them for a long time. As soon as we get real good at it, or he's been real good at it, but as soon as I get real good at it, they'll make a tire basically to fit the specs. Dun, 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 dun. Smart car. Okay, yeah, I got you. The older deluxe, I got you. I see it up there now. Sorry, I didn't see your answer in the area. Sometimes I always feel like I'm gonna mess this cut up, but I'll just kind of line that one up, line that one up. Cut straight. Boop, boop. Yeah, see the backside's a little thinner than the front. Oh well, we'll make it work. Yeah, the templates are working good for sure. Um, Makes it a little easier when it comes down to it. That's no doubt about it. That one. At least the truck's up and running good, Scott. Hopefully it's a decent load that you're picking up. Sometimes, man, when I went places, those guys seemed like they had been sitting there forever. You know, they're there when I got there, and obviously there when I left. But yeah, some of them never seemed like they were in a good mood, like they had been there forever. But most of them never had all their information either. You pull up there, and she's like, you know, what's your pickup number? What's your blah blah blah? And they just looked at you like you were crazy. So then I'd always just laugh and pick my stuff up and go. Most of the time they had ours just ready sitting there. Or if we had to be loaded, we did. CS41s, yeah, Brad, Kevin, and Rusty are both running theirs on the CS41s. I'm not sure. No, not Hutzler, because I built Hutzlers, I think. So, I can't remember, but it's hard to keep track of everything. But yeah, Kevin Martin built his first one on CS41s, and he's building his second one on it now. He did the same thing, you know. Or he let a team driver borrow it for Utah, and it did not make it back to him. So he, they loved it so much they had to have it. So Rona definitely has a beautiful, well, Rez and Rona both working shredder. Blue down or what? Let's try. When I brag about this glue, it don't work. I didn't give it a good enough chance. Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, they work really good on the shredder, and Kevin's got all of the link lengths. Or actually, I got them too. He sent them to me for running the CS41s on the shredder chassis. So I'll make a post. I needed to post that in the comments of the video I made yesterday, talking about the link sets I've made for the deluxe axles. So I need to post the CS41 link lengths in there so people can purchase the lengths if they'd like and make their own link kits. So, but yeah, they work amazing on there. So you can buy yourself a shredder chassis with a topper, whatever color you want or style, and got the link lengths on there. You'll be able to just order those separately from whoever you want, hardcore or deluxe or anyone like that. Bend them how you want. Usually it's a single bend or a double bend is your two options. I think Kevin did double bends. 3/16 obviously lowers, 1/8 inch uppers. Not sure if Kevin did the 1/8 inch uppers or not. But yeah, it makes it nice. That's what I started to do on the deluxe links. So I did the 3/16 titanium lowers and 1/8 inch uppers. Gives us clearance up top, obviously, that we need. Chassis is a little tight in some spots. And then 3/16 lower titanium, super strong, not going to bend. We had some issues with the 1/8 inch bending with a double bend in them. So any of the 1/8 inch that only had single bends in them seemed to hold up pretty strong. The force put on them didn't seem to want to bend them, but as soon as we double bent them, it seemed like they wanted to bend fairly easily if you were in a really bad bind. So, so we switched to 3/16 titanium lowers, and shouldn't have an issue anymore. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Oh, that's right. You did bend your singles. I forgot about that. I don't. Maybe the ones that were on mine were, I don't know, tempered to a different temperature or something, because I tortured them out here on our course. See you, Scott. Be careful, buddy. I tortured them out on this course. I tortured them at Fall Crawl. AJ tortured them in Utah, and they seemed to, I guess, be okay. AJ may have been them, but he didn't tell me. So, um, I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. Maybe just got lucky. But my new one will definitely have the 3/16 lower. Actually, look pretty good underneath of it. And for the added peace of mind and strength, why not? Now that we've got it figured out, at least. Sean, we can make you some 3/16 lowers if you want. Should have all the stuff here. I've got link, like the video said the other day, I've got link lengths in. I've got quite a decent amount of rod ends in. Uh, we can definitely make a set. I think only one person ordered after the video, and I think I got like had enough for another 4 or 5 sets. So get you taken care of. The new trust doesn't change anything. It's the same. The Chris Bauer, the Chris that was in here earlier, um, he purchased the new truss and put it on the shredder that I sent him with the old style truss on it. And he said all he had to do was turn the rod ends a couple times, and that was it. It was done. They worked perfect. So, and then the same way, can you get me set put together for CS4? I probably can, Brad, with Kevin's measurements. Yeah, we could probably make one. Give me a little bit. I'd have to order some of the stuff in, but yeah, the lengths if they're different. But yeah, Sean, the new truss didn't change anything. And then with the double bent rod ends on the other ones, I was worried at the bottom, since the bottom lower links now had an angled mounting position, but Chris said it worked out beautifully. They didn't need to change. I didn't need to put straight rod ends instead of the bent rod ends. So um, he said it's smooth as butter, nothing binds, nothing touches, and the upper links stay away from the chassis really well. Um, so with the kits, I didn't change anything from what I had been doing. So we'll see if anybody has any issues. But the only issues that they might have would be the rear lower axle side. If they didn't want the bent rod in, they could just do a straight, which then you could just put a Traxxas one on, or you could purchase the RC four-wheel drive ones to match if you'd like. That's what all the rod ends are on the kits I've been sending. Is all RC four-wheel drive. Yeah, Brad, I'll get you taken care of. We'll figure it out. No issues. Heck, Kevin could probably make you a set, or who knows? He's super busy. He just left for work, so busy time at work for old Techosaurus. All right, that's good and in place. Let it dry. Yeah, I've got this last one here being built shredder wise is the last set of the runs that I had with the older truss. So any ones built from now will have the newer style, which I need to order some. Oop, touch the camera. Set that back a little bit. Straighten it. There we go. That works a little better. And on to the next one. Hi, people watching. Everybody's busy. Can't blame them. There you go. Chris is still in here. Yeah. All good on his end. That's awesome. When you sent me that, I was like, phew, because anybody that wanted to go for the new truss, I didn't want for them to send me a message like, these don't work now. But I'm glad it all works. It helped me out too with doing the kits. I didn't have to wait to order a new axle in and figure out what needed to be done to fix it. Chris, this is what I had to do to make your tires. Sit here for hours. Usually I'll put like with the laptop that you guys are seeing me from, I'll put like a movie on or something, some background noise, and or if the team wants to go live and chat, we'll do that in our messenger. But usually I like to have just something in the background going as we making. Yeah. Okay. Wife's coming in. All right. Love you. Nice. Nice. Old Timmy's got me on the old. I don't know. What do you? No, you're in a truck. You're probably not in a van or anything. I don't know. I know you drive a truck with a camper all the time, but I don't know if you're pulling that. Got the whole family listening, huh? Just visited Superman. And it looked like that was what the Hudson Hornet. Is that what they call him? Out there on the road. See you, Brad. Be good. Thanks for hanging out. No, it's not super interesting, but figure if I'm working in front of the computer, maybe I can help somebody. I'll explore today. Hey, Heather. How are ya? Come on, Tyre. Four people. Brad left. See, I don't know what time it is. Let's see. 11:49. Some people might be getting on lunch here soon. Might chime in. This side does not want to stick. I put too much glue. So, Timmy, I don't know if you're driving or if Heather's driving. I don't know. You guys got any other stops planned along the route? Anything fun? I know you asked if anybody knew anything fun to do where you were going, and I Google searched it, and it pretty much had come look at this park, and that was about it. Everything else was nothing really. So whatever part of Alabama you're going to, whew, it's out there. I mean, we go to Gunnersville each year, and it's $1 million town, $1 million homes or whatever in the center of a 1980s town. Man, it just like they're stuck in time back then. But then you go out on the lake. The lake's so beautiful. It's got $1 million homes and boathouses, and I mean it's unbelievable. But then you go into town, and it's like bobbing, Charlene's catfish dinners. It's weird. It's nice though. It's slow paced, that's for sure. When we go, but it looked like a nice little like historic town you're going to. Sometimes that's nice. Winging it this weekend. Hey, I pretty much do that every vacation. Like if we're going somewhere, I have the destination to where we're going, but the trip there, trip back, and what we're doing there is, unless I'm working, obviously, is all a part of the experience. I mean, I know you guys got, I think, some family things or family to visit or something, but yeah, when I travel, man, I don't like having an itinerary. I don't like having things scheduled out unless obviously it's work. But I want to go. I want to do whatever when I get there. That's sometimes my most favorite trips. You don't even know what's around. Just go drive or find something or talk to the locals, something like that. That's my vacations. Well, where are we going? Oh, we're going to Gatlinburg. What are we going to do? I don't know. We'll see when we get down there. Or going to Alabama. What are you going to do? I don't know. That's what vacation's about with me. When people say they're going on vacation and they're like, we've got this 2 weeks planned and it's down to the hour, and oh yeah, we're gonna go have lunch here, and then at 2 o'clock we're doing this, and then later that night at 6 o'clock we're doing this. I'm like, that's not vacation. Like that to me is work, basically. Who wants to go to vacation and have a schedule? I want to go to vacation and relax. I'll go take a nap. I'll go take a nap. Two people, hey, losing it. That's all right though. I'm okay with that. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why some people do that. Yeah, it's just I don't like it. Like, yeah, man, I'm different now. See, now Megan, my wife, she was like that when we met. Like everything was planned to a T. They had a schedule of what they were doing and all that. And then the first vacation that me and her went on together, it was like it may have been Gatlinburg. I can't remember, but it was like, well, okay, so if this is where we're staying, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, whatever we want when we get down there, you know. And she was like, yeah, but do we need to make reservations or anything like that? I'm like, for what? We don't even know what we're doing. So uh, it was an eye opener for her the very first time that happened. She goes, I've never been on vacation where we didn't have like an itinerary to do. And I'm like, well, that's not vacation then. I was like, that's work. And ever since then, it's for the most part been like that unless we're actually working, corrupt at a show or something like that. But if we just go on a vacation together, we'll get into whatever we get into. And it's been amazing. We've made a lot of awesome memories doing that. Heck, we even, we do it after fall crawl each year. We've been there every year. We don't plan anything. We stay there a day after, sometimes two. And last year it was the same way. We drove around deep into town and just kind of kept driving and found like a glass factory down there. Uh, Simon Pierce has a factory. That's where we ended up and had like a showroom. So we were like, heck, let's go in there and see what it is. And we wanted to see if you could take a tour while they were doing stuff, and they had just ended that day, so we didn't get to do that. But we got to, go through the showroom and see all the stuff that they make and glasses and plates and there's some pottery in there and all kinds of other stuff. And then we ended up coming up on custom made like glass Christmas trees with lights underneath them that were absolutely gorgeous. So it's funny, we ended up buying one for our mantle, and that's where it is now for Christmas. And it was cool to bring that out. That's something that shows that we just kind of wandered around on vacation and found something, really cool and beautiful and a memory to remember each year we put it up. So that's why you have that. Now, if you had a schedule to do something, you would have never have done that. So two people watching. I guess I'm boring people. Dun, dun. Well, I'm sure there's something cool there, or at least something to see there. You'll find it. Maybe they do a lot of decorating for Christmas in that area, so you might be able to just drive around and look at Christmas lights. That's something that people are starting to do right now already. It was a big thing in the other town that we lived in. There was a house close to where we lived that put up like unbelievable amount of blow ups each year for Christmas. Those ones you just plug in and like whatever in your front yard. So that was something that people always did out there was travel to see this house. I mean, it wasn't anything. You drove down the road, you could pull in front of it if you wanted to, but people always wanted to see that house and see if they added any more blow ups or anything like that. So it ended up being a thing to do and always busy over around near that house and such like that. And they did each year. They put probably one or two more. It ended up being the whole yard and like the roof full and all kinds of stuff. Well, come on, Tyre. Don't put too much glue again. Hope everybody's having a good Friday. No, there's not really anybody in there, but if you come back and watch it later, we'll try to do a little bit more of these. I know it's not super exciting right now. Maybe later tonight I might be able to get back on and get some of the team drivers on with me and have like a Q&A if anybody has any questions, things like that. I just figured, I need to start doing this again. If I'm sitting here working, I might as well see if anybody has any questions or if they want to come in and hang out, something like that. Otherwise, it's me sitting out here in this basement gluing tires and watching movies at the same time, trying to keep up with everything or answering questions on my phone, movie in front of me, tires being glued. Everybody's got work, I know. Just figure it's nice to people be able to reach me like this if they needed to. Another avenue in case they had a question or RC talk, life talk, whatever. So glued up, super nice. Took a little bit for the glue to kind of set, but that one was nice, nice glue. How long have we been on here? A little over an hour. No, hour and a half actually. Did not think of that. Time flies when you're gluing tires. Yeah. Here's a little tip that I always learned. I kind of always try to just line up the line here in the inside. That's what I worry about the most. That tells me that the tire's lined up pretty correctly. And then, because you're going to cut it and put a different sidewall in it anyway. But if you worry about that line and make sure your roll edges are good, the tire comes out pretty nice. No, I know you're there, Sean. I got you. I figured it's just you and me right now. It only says two current viewers, so I figured you were still there. Yeah, you can get sucked into that rabbit hole pretty quickly. That's why I usually, if we're going to design a chassis, like you and me, the team, whatever, It's a day that I'm gonna dedicate. I'm just gonna walk downstairs. I'm not doing anything else. And typically it's a little later, so I can grab a beer and just kind of focus. And later's better anyway, because then you guys are able to chat quicker if you like the look or the style, or where it's heading, that type deal. So it's definitely something that takes a lot of time. Get it right. But yeah, you'll definitely sit down there and get stuck drawing for a while. Yep, yep. So it takes. You can look at it and you think it looked beautiful and ready to go and think you thought of everything, and then all of a sudden it's like, bloop, you you send it to the team and they're like, oh hey, you forgot this, or maybe we should do this, and you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. And then you gotta go back and start changing stuff. Sometimes it turns into a whole redraw. Ran into that with the shredder. You're just like, we missed one little tiny thing in the rules and made a complete redraw of everything. You're fine, Timmy. You're driving. If you're driving, you probably shouldn't be talking anyway. We should be chatting with Heather. But if you're not driving, there you go. Megan gets on the team chat every now and then when we're driving. She gets bored and wants to do something. She'll get on there and talk to all you guys. Almost done with these. Sidewalls will be next, but I don't know if that'll be right now or not. I want to kind of let these dry in place for a little bit before I start cutting for the sidewalls. So it's not going to stay. Okay. Make sure I put it on the right way. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself, but we're good. It turned out pretty nice too. It's always nice when you can barely see like any glue anywhere. It's just right where it needs to be, and that's it. None of it spilled, none of it dripped or anything like that. Especially working with the thin, but it actually helps sometimes. Um, the super thin stuff like I've got here, I mean, it is water basically. You can just drip it on the top, hold it back, drip it on there, kind of spread it a little bit, but then when you press these two together, it'll seep itself down the whole seam, and you can see it do that, and it'll help you glue the whole tire. Now the thicker stuff, I don't know if it'll do that or not. Could never really work with the thicker glue. It always seemed like it left too much residue up there, and or where it didn't need to be. So went back to working with the thin, and you just got to be careful. Well, you glue your fingers together in like 0.2 milliseconds because it'll just seep right to your finger somewhere. But once you get the hang of it, it's good. Yep. Now that's on there. See, I put a little more than I needed to right there on this side, and it took a little longer for it to kind of hold itself. If you just do a little bit, just the perfect amount, like about right when you touch it together, it's done and it holds itself. But that one took a little bit longer. And then if you put a little too much, if you kind of if you got it together and it doesn't feel like it's sticking, and you pull it away and it starts stringing, kind of like the sticky tire stuff, it's almost to the point to where it's going to hold itself. So another about 10 seconds of holding it there and it's good. At least that's what I've come to find out. And these always take at least another glue round after you get. I usually wait till I'm done with the sidewalls on there too, and kind of move around and check all the glue spots, tug on them real good. Picture incoming. All right, I'll take a look. This is holding itself now. It's good. Make sure all the rest of them are still holding themselves. Yep, that one looks good. That looks good. That looks glorious. Don't have to worry about that. So, this one's pretty good. Nice. I think that was the first one. It's still good. Just gets better as you go, typically. Nice. All right, those are dry. Let those dry. What up, cross key car crawlers? I'm just kind of hanging out, gluing tires for minis right now. I've had to make some for a customer, so it's been some work, as it always is. Yeah, Sean looks pretty good. You need to do something with that back instead of it just being flat. Maybe kind of bring it to a little bit of a point like you had uh, the first time on the first design, not just flat back there, just straight cut. Kind of bringing out a little bit of style so the front and back match. Eye flows with it. That'll work. All right, that works. Let those dry for right now for a little bit. Then put a new tip on once I do the sidewalls. Guys, if you ever glue tires and you go to make them yourself, just go with like the tip on the bottle. Buy you some nice glue tips. I've had these for a while. Got a ton of different ones. One of my suppliers that I order from had these in for fairly cheap, so I bought them. But you can see like a metal bit tip. Uh, I've been using these for a while too. Sean, I know, uses these. I don't know if it'll help focus or not. Maybe. There you go. You can see little metal bit tip helps a lot when you go to glue. Stay a little bit more precise. It's not dripping and going crazy everywhere. Um, Definitely helps out. So, and then uh, they have those. Then you got the plastic flexible ones and things like that too. But with the thin, I really like the metal ones. Now I know, like, if you got a thicker glue, it wouldn't come through those too terribly easy. You really have to be pressing on it. So it all depends on what glue you're using, what you like, that type deal. These and kind of clean them up. Make sure you got a somewhat straight edge. It's got a nice, good area to glue on. Probably if you got any, like, if you went around it and it had like a little peak, maybe where you move the scissors or something like that. Try to trim that down. Seems to help you out a lot when it comes to it. You could even like come off the back corner side of the inside where it's ribbed, but if you take that edge, you can roll that edge down if you wanted to. Sometimes that helps because it's a little higher at some points for some reason. Maybe you're holding the scissors wrong, but I try to look at all that going around the tire to get the sidewalls ready. Ends up having a ton of little shavings of rubber down here, though. But, name of the game. And I've been using these little curved, sharp stainless steel scissors on Amazon, fairly cheap. Like these. I think they even called them like eyebrow scissors or something. But I've been using these. They work really nice. You can tell they're curved there. Black one's 200 for like $5. Yeah, they're crazy, crazy cheap if you wanted to. There you go. Cross Keys will take that link. Yeah, if you're gluing tires, it's the cat's meow, that's for sure. It definitely helps out a ton. You up to today there, Cross Keys? Anything good? Is it cold out there where you're at or where you're from? It is pretty cold. I think yesterday we were in the negatives with the wind chill. So being down here in the basement, I guess I can't complain too much about. Fine detail right here. But this is what you got to do to make sure they look nice. Oh yeah, PA, yep, yep. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yesterday, or was it yesterday? Yeah, something like that. We had some super high winds at night. It might have been the night before. It was enough to where it was uh, messing with the power on and off, man. It was probably blowing trees into power lines and stuff, but man, we had some stupid wind, which, at this temperature, it just makes it even colder. So, like, the wind chill was like -6 or -7. It might have been more than that. I can't remember. But no, I think it was like -16. It was cold, cold. When I went out the other morning, I mean, it would just crunch on whatever you were walking on in the yard. If there was grass there that hasn't went dormant, I mean, it was crunching. Even the mud was crunching. Oh, that's when the garage door was frozen to the concrete. I tried to take some trash out. Door was frozen to the concrete. Took a couple times for the garage door opener to get it up. Hope you're having a good day. I know at least it's Friday. Everybody seems, unless you work weekends. If you work retail, you don't have Fridays. But you got the weekend off. Hopefully it's being a good day. Not working you to death. It's usually how it always happened when if it was Friday and you wanted it to be good, that was like the busiest day, being worked to death. Freezing pipes cold last night in the wind. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, as soon as it started getting cold, we went out there and took all the hoses off and put their little insulation covers on them and all that. Because I mean, we're out here in a cornfield basically, so corn's down now, and it's just whipping winds all over. All right, what am I looking at? I don't know. I don't know, Sean. I think you might need those tops and allow people allow the back end to sit a little lower if wanted. I don't know. I think the two rows is pretty good. I don't know if we want to go to a single row or not. I would keep the two. Some people like longer shocks too, so it gives them an option for that, not have to immediately um, put like an offset cap or something on. Oh yeah, nice. Micro comp and swap meet at Key City. Yeah, those are always fun. You usually end up finding something you didn't think you needed, but then you're like, that'd be nice to have. Or you see a really good deal and you can't pass it up. Quiet Friday. That's good. It's a good thing. A nice and easy Friday for an off weekend. That's always a blessing. Trying to start relaxing there, and by the time you get home, you actually feel like you might want to go out to go to dinner or something like that. To where if you had to work all day, sometimes you get home, you don't want to do that. You just want to sit. Should hold on. If I go up this one. Go. Ooh, sometimes you gotta be careful. One thing that not even one person around here has shown interest in these little micros, and we talked about it back in the day when man, who brought out that little one? Proline maybe that little ambush or something. We talked about it back then, doing like little indoor tables and stuff, and being able to crawl in the winter time with those, but it never happened. I mean, they may have built a table at our local hobby shop, but no one really ever came that I heard of to comp. Maybe they did, I don't know, but it never took off. I'll say that. It definitely was not something like where people were gung ho. I mean, and I had bought one, but It didn't really do much, that's for sure. Couldn't really crawl anything with it. I know it's all scale different, but at a certain point, it's no longer doing anything. But I think they're a little better now. The UTV 18's a little bit more capable, and I've definitely seen at ECC the different classes and things that they were doing with them there. I didn't even know they did classes for those, and then some of them guys had some pretty custom done ones, so it was kind of cool to see. But nothing that nothing that really piqued my interest too much. And then I haven't heard anything really from anybody other than earlier today asking for a well, they asked for a mini, but yeah, I haven't had a whole lot of people send me any messages asking for micro stuff, so it's just never been on the radar. I think, well, I mean, I can't say that. I mean, Foyer's asked me a couple times for a while, but I don't know. I just didn't have a whole lot of general public asking, I guess you could say. Let's get to these sidewalls. Best to take your time with this. So you screw this up. Sometimes you kind of can't come back from it. Or if you do, it looks a little funky. Really keep thinking I need to design some kind of tool to do this, but I don't know if it'd be worth the time. It'd have to be something definitely designed just to do this. Like you set it down, you got a little blade, and then presses the tire down, and then you spin it. It cuts it, but I could see where you could really mess it up if you're not paying attention. End up slipping and cutting half the tire off or something like that. That's not supposed to be cut off. There's no coming back from that. I mean, there is a lot of glue, but nobody wants a tire like that. Well, 4 people watching me cut a tire. Famous. It's true. It would have to be adjustable. That's for sure. Sorry, guys. Had to answer a message. Ooh, over my head. I kind of like did it in my head of how to do that, but I don't know if it's worth all the trouble. Just sit here with a pair of scissors and cut. And by the time, like I said earlier, by the time I would ever get that figured out and done and working correctly and all that, companies would start coming out with tires in that size that worked really well. So then it would just instantly be obsolete, not needed. So I'll sit here on live, hang out with you guys, and cut tires. We'll do that. The way we can say it's handmade with love. Extra corrupt love. Hungry. It's food. Had a salad for dinner last night. Well, salad and chicken, but it's only gonna hold me so long. I had a little bit of a breakfast cookie type deal this morning. So starting to definitely feel hungry. Man, one sidewalk cut out. These little ends back. Well, you're not fighting them. Sean, what scissors do you use when you do this? Do you do kind of scissors like I'm using now? These are called, like I said, eyebrow or something like that scissors. I was looking on Amazon for some nice curved scissors, and these come up. Obviously, some other like hair cutting ones come up, but they were like crazy expensive. I didn't need that. These little tiny things were a little of nothing in price. They like showed like next day delivery too, so I was like, oh, okay. So far, they've cut a lot of tires and not had any issues and still pretty sharp. Got another whole brand new pack over here, or a brand new set. Tire scissors. I didn't even know they made tire scissors. They make tire scissors? I didn't know that made people be cutting rubber tires. So for you guys that don't, or it's been here or want to follow, if you're still watching, so we've cut that out now. Then it has like little the little things on the edge. I kind of angled those back, and then the sidewalls that we did should be pretty close to just a perfect fit that we used our template. Hard to hold it in there and it not be glued, but almost a perfect fit. Look at that. And we'll glue that in there. Let's see. Straight. Wow, yeah, no, I like the curve. It works pretty good. Tire tuning scissors for RC cars. Huh. Never heard of them. That's kind of nice. curved, I think makes it a little nice. You can kind of follow the angle around. Sometimes I trim the back up. It's got like a little more rubber than I like sticking out. It's not a flat edge. So sometimes I'll go back and take that edge down or any peaks that I see. Make the gluing area a little easier. For sure. Flip this thing inside out. Oh, I haven't done that with the other ones, but I'll try it here. There we go. Take down any peaks that I see. That makes it a little easier. Snip, take those off. There we go. That worked out nice. Wow, I've never taken the Dremel to them. Just make sure I go around and cut them to where they're flat. Well, flatter, I guess. I don't know if I've ever taken the Dremel to them. Huh, guess that would work. I think it kind of roughs them up, but I haven't had any issues this way. I don't like making that much of a mess. There we go. You could probably take a Dremel to those and rough them up, but or flatten them out. But I haven't had any issues. This way, I kind of turn the scissors around. Just kind of take these little. There's rubber left. Snip, snip. Make sure I take that off all the way around, and that way that's hanging out down below where you're trying to glue or pushing the sidewall away, not allowing it to sit flat and flush. I can see where a Dremel could help, that's for sure. Probably take like too much off and then the sidewalls wouldn't fit. That's my luck. I'm like, oh yeah, this looks great, perfect, and then sidewall be like 3 millimeters too short. There we go. That worked. Looks good. flip it inside out, turn the scissors over, so now you've got the angle down. Just literally just right on around. Now all the little nubs are gone. Flip it back the other way. She's ready to glue. Should work out just fine. Sometimes, you know. They're handmade, so they're not going to be perfect. But you can get them looking pretty good. Usually, if you handle them that much or whatnot, grab you a old rag, grab you a little MEK on it. Get the good stuff. Don't get the fake stuff. Don't get it on your pit mat. It'll eat it. Ask me how I know. Run where you're going to be gluing. Good there. On these edges where you're going to be gluing. Make sure everything's good and cleaned. And you have a good couple surfaces to glue. And these, I bought these jean rags. Obviously, they're cut up jeans. I bought those from Big MasterCard one time when I was ordering on there. They had like a stupid cheap sale on these things. I guess they hadn't been selling. Kind of like rags in a box or whatever. But they had these and they were the jeans. Set that down away from your face so you don't get high. Big box of them, huge box. I've got two of them over there. I haven't barely touched the one, but they had them for like ridiculously cheap. It was like $6 a box or something. I don't know if they just needed to sell them or what. But man, I bought two of them and barely touched what I have in the one so far. Ah, oh, we can glue that sidewall. Perfect. You want to do one at a time or cut all those and then glue them all? Yeah, we'll glue this one for the sake of doing it. Waste a tip. No, that's a. That's good and clean. There we go. Do these two sidewalls on here, and I think we'll get off here and find some food. I am hungry. Let's start. Let's start right there. All right, hold on. Give me a second. Make sure this is in its spot. All right. Let's take a look. Always sharp. death defying. Five people watching. All right, who's the newcomers? Who's got some questions? Talk some RC here. Been talking a little bit about everything. What do we got? Some people just now joining. This is why you cut those. Just I missed one. I blew myself this tire here soon. There we go. What we got? What do we got? Well, duh. That's how we always celebrate the win. That's the corrupt way. There we go. Oh, got me. Got to cut one of the little lugs there on the side. There. Well, all these new people in here. Well, not a ton of them, but new people watching. Nobody has a question. Nobody wants to talk. Go. Four people get to watch me glue a tire. It's like watching paint dry. Try to hold it nice up there on the top so it looks crisp and clean with the edge. No gaps. Try to get as much surface area glued as possible. Always I have to go back and touch them up, typically. Little thing here and there, no biggie. Try not to make a too much or too wide of a span of what you're trying to glue. Work in one smaller spot at a time. Not a tiny small spot, but one area at a time. It seemed it helped me keep the tires a little bit more clean looking than trying to do 3/4 of it all at once. That in place till she stays. On the sidewall, sometimes I'll put probably a little bit more glue than needs to be. I mean, as long as it's not dripping out the front, or anything, that's fine. But you want to make sure you got glue everywhere in there. You really want to make sure the sidewalls are strong. 'Cause it will tell you when it's not. Or it'll show for sure out on the course. Go. Mark your next spot. Put a drip back. Spread it forward. Get it in place and then press and hold it. And since they're hand cut, guys, I mean, maybe like Sean said, if you take a Dremel and make everything completely flat, it'll help out. I mean, and it definitely would if everything's completely flat. But it's rubber. Kind of get some glue on it, press it together to where it's always touching, and should be just fine. But I could see where making it flat with a drum wheel would definitely help out. Takes a little time if no one's done this before. That's why if somebody does do it and they sell tires to you, that's why it costs a fortune. You gotta think you need at least 5 tires to make the outside tread because you got 4 that you're cutting and 1 that you're cutting up to make the additional tread. So you'll need 5 of those tires, depending on how much you're adding, I guess. But with the 4.2 to 4.5 range, you can get by with 5 tires. And then you need another 4 tires for the sidewalls. So in all, you need 9 tires to make these. So there's the cost of that, and then the cost of glue, the cost of tips, the cost of time to sit there and do it. It is a lengthy process. 350 if I supply the tires. Yeah, I do on the website if you wanted to add it to your shredder. So I don't sell them separately. But if you wanted to add it to your ready to run shredder purchase, it's 3. But like I said, I don't sell them separately. If I sold them separately, they'd be a little bit more. But I try to help the customer out if that's something that they wanted with their mini. They could add it on and a little bit of cheaper. That's a little savings. To give it that little wiggle, glue finds itself all around. It's a little bit for it to dry. Used a little too much glue on there. It's still not drying up. Take it a little bit. I'll let it dry for a second. Come back to it. Sometimes, man, some of them like it just as soon as it touches, it's on there. It's good to go. And some other times, you gotta pull it back off from where it's stuck when it instantly touched, just to get it in the exact spot you wanted it to be in. But then other times you can sit there and hold it for 10 minutes and still don't want to glue. And it's like this side's already pulling strands, and the one I did before is still just now pulling. Pull them both at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, I'll take a set of super tires for 350. Thank you. Too bad you already said it. I get it. It's America. It's a contract, basically. Verbal contract and written. You wrote it. America. Anybody else? Any questions? Anything? No? Shows four of you in here. Must be hanging out like me. Background noise. There we go. Sidewall's looking good. A little glue in some spots, but it turned out pretty decent. Hard to tell. There you go. Boom. Glued up. One side. And then, guys, once you do these need to, you kind of need to let them dry for at least 24 hours, then come back and give them a good tug test. And if anything comes apart, you need to reglue them, touch them up. Every now and then, there'll be a spot that needs to be touched up for sure. All that comes into play. That's why I say it's at least 2 days to build a set of tires. Typically more than that, unless you really sit down and do nothing else, kind of like right now. But even then, I'd have to sit down here for hours to do these, and I mean we have already 2.5 now. Sure, I've got all these snipped. Oh, so good. Let's do this other side. So, not everybody does, but I try to make the sidewalls look somewhat correct to each other. Same area. So, same writing. I try to put in the same area on both sides of the tire. Just makes it look a little better. It's the added touches. See, that one's already coming apart right there. Move that back. There we go. Yeah, I think that 3M, that primer and glue would be nice, Sean, because it would, if it's anything like, working with PVC, you got primer on one side of the tire and then you put glue on the other, and as soon as you touch them, I mean it's pretty much done and game over. You can probably build a tire pretty quick with that. You just gotta be careful probably with the primer the same way like PVC. You don't get it everywhere. So then it'll leave a residue or a film or mark or whatever. I've not used it when it comes to rubber, so I'm not sure on that aspect. I don't know if you could wipe off if you got it anywhere, say with MEK or acetone or something like that. But it would be nice to have, primer on one side, glue on the other side of the tire, and then just line it up and touch it. Boom, done, stuck, move on. Sometimes like I just did this, I had a little more than I probably needed, and it's taken a little bit longer, but not a big deal. But I mean, that also makes sure that you have a good, solid fusion between the two. If you had primer that activated and did that, that'd be nice. All right, so good there. So we started on this end, which means we need to put this over here. Right about right there. Okay, let's start with that. Well, let's hold that in place. That's nice. That'd be super nice if it just like melts it together. Yeah, I thought about ordering that stuff, but I was like, that's what I need to do. Spend more money. Haven't done that enough lately. And if it works, I mean, yeah, I'll buy it for sure. But did I want to be the test goat? Probably not. Yeah, that'd be awesome to have adhesive like that for doing tires. Oh. Yeah, I went through that back when I first started Corrupt, when I was doing just the braces and the links with carbon fiber and then the brass inserts and such. So I did a whole lot of research and tried to figure out, what's going to hold brass inside a carbon weave rolled tube. I mean, I went down the rabbit hole big time with that and finally did, came up with some good options. And when it was all said and done, it was funny. I landed on the epoxy from 3M that was designed and used to hold golf club heads to carbon fiber shafts. And I said, well, I mean, that's, mm, nailing a head on the, or hitting a nail on the head right there with a hammer. I mean, that was perfect. It was holding metal to carbon fiber shafts. And that's what I was wanting to do, hold metal inside a carbon fiber tube slash shafts. So I ordered that up from a special chemical place or whatever that stocked it and said it was the best. And it was all, in the books from then on. It, I don't think I rarely ever heard anybody have an insert come out of the tube. I had some people maybe strip the insert, but I mean the way that I did them and glued them up together, it took a lot of force to get one of those inserts out. When I first did like the links or the braces, I tested it and I even did a video. I mean, it's way back in the day, but I had a cinder block on the ground. I did an insert in a link. I put a rod end on it, and then I tied. I don't remember how I did it. I tied the rope or string or somehow to the rod end, and then picked the cinder block up with with the link, holding the link, and I was bouncing it, and I mean, it never came out. And still to this day, it's probably still on that cinder block wherever it's at. To be honest with you, but I mean, that stuff was stout when you mixed it and the way that I did it and put it in there. I had all plastic hardware and I would thread it on the insert or in the insert, and then I would epoxy. I fill basically a tray full and I dip the insert in epoxy and roll it. And then I had already sanded the inside of the tube to the correct width that I needed or to the diameter that I needed. And then I would coat that whole insert in epoxy, a lot of it, and then jam it down in the hole and then let it come to the top and make kind of like a almost like a lid on top of it. And then I'd let it sit there and dry for about, I don't know, an hour or so. And then I'd go down there and I'd pull the plastic hardware out of the insert and then let it fully cure for 24 hours. Wiped off any, or well, I wiped off any excess and then let it cure for 24 hours. And when they were done, they were done. They weren't coming apart. That stuff was not coming, that insert was not coming out of the inside of that thing. And now I see some people making braces and stuff, and it looks like they're just heat pressing the insert in there. And though it's good, it's not the long term design that I would do. Well, the way that I did it, I mean, those links and braces are still out there to this day. I mean, it's been that long. Corrupt. I mean, that was the very first things that we did, and some of those links and braces are still being used. So it's crazy. The braces were super nice, but it took a long time to do that. Like if you needed a certain width brace, I mean, I had to sit there with that little tiny diamond wheeled, basically they called it like a mighty saw or something. It's like a little miniature table saw, and I would have it set with a fence on it to the width or length that I needed, and I would cut it, and then I'd take it out with calipers and measure it, and then I'd sit there um, with the sander if needed, and then I'd basically sand it down to the exact millimeter that was asked for, and then after that I moved on and do another one, and by the time I had like 30 of them done, and then I would sit down the next night, and then I had a little basically Dremel, with the cable that came down, and then I had the correct size diamond bit sanding wheel that I needed that measured in the diameter that I needed. And then it had a rounded top. And then I'd send that bit down inside the tube right there at the front, right down the center by hand. It would sand it to the perfect size. Then I pull it back out, clean it, blow it out or whatnot. And then after I did that with all of them, and then I'd go into the epoxy stage, and that would take a day or two. I'd do what I just told you guys. Like I'd get the insert all covered and locked in there, and have it sit for about an hour. Take the thread or take the hardware out, the plastic hardware, wipe off any excess that was still on there, and then they would dry for 24 hours. Then I'd come back with a tap on the handle and clean out the threads of the insert in case it needed it or in case it had any epoxy somehow get in there when pulling the screw out. And then if that once that was done and clean, and then they were finally done, the braces were done, you know. And to sit there and do that with 30 or 40 of them, I mean that's how Krupp started. But man, it was long nights, and you do that after work, you know. I'd get off of work late, and I'd come home, and I'd sit down there in the RC room and just do that all night long. Wake up in the morning, go to work, come back home, and then do the next step. And it sucked. I mean, you had to put the hustle in, that's for sure. I mean, that's exactly how Krupp started. Everybody wanted carbon braces, and at that time, high clearance links were a thing on like MOAs and Sporties and stuff, the big S bins or anything like that, but it hadn't really hit the scale scene too terribly much. So everybody was still running straight links, and I was doing the carbon links for uppers, and then some people asked for lowers, so then I did a thicker tube, 6 millimeter in diameter, I think it was, for the lowers, and shit. And then I would do a brass or stainless tube, and I'd cut it in half. That was the inside diameter of the outer diameter of the carbon link. So I'd cut it in half and then sand the ends down and the edges down, and then I would shoe glue them on the bottom of the lower links. So then the carbon link then had a skid, so the carbon wasn't getting crashed or thrashed against the rocks, and the metal kept it, good away from being scratched and damaged and started getting to peel on the rocks or anything like that. So the stainless worked out really nice. Once those were glued on, they really never came off. They were just there for being, for sliding protection. And that's how the lower links were done. It took a long time. You did basically the same thing you did for a brace for a link, and then instead of 3 millimeter screw going into it like through the chassis and into the brace, you had a really long set screw that went into the rod end, and then you threaded it into the link. You could add some washers there if you needed a little extra distance or a spacer or something like that if you needed to adjust it. So it turned out really well back in the day. They were beautiful link sets and braces. A lot of people bought, a link kit and braces together. And they were gorgeous. They're still some of the very first pictures on the Corrupt Facebook page. You can go back and look at some of the very first pictures that we uploaded. They'll have full sets there all laid out real pretty. I took pictures of. I mean, they were gorgeous. They performed pretty good. I never really had an issue with them when I ran them. But then everybody started doing high clearance titanium and stainless and even brass. But then straight links became a thing of the past, and I couldn't figure out how to do carbon and bent, so it wasn't needed. Braces were still needed, but I didn't have the time to do them anymore. It took up so much time. People wanted the shock hoops once I started doing those, and then the Land Shark was designed, and people started wanting those, and it became a point to where I couldn't do the braces and the links and then everything else all at the same time and work a full-time job. So the super super time consuming braces and links went away. I still have a whole lot of carbon tube left. It's funny to think back at those days, man. That was crazy. A lot of work. Ooh, that one's done now too. There we go. There is the finished product. One tire done. Look at that. So we got writing right there. Flip it over. Writing right there. So those are lined up. So it looks like a good looking tire now. Look at that. Let's see. Where is. It's not stuffed, obviously. Let's see where we're at. So, 4.26. Yeah, right at 4.3 basically. The inside of the caliper there, or yep, 4.27 to 4.3, perfect. That's what we need. All right, guys, it's been fun. I'm gonna go get some food. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. We'll probably do this a little bit later tonight, also. So, thanks so much. Like and subscribe. We'll see ya.